afternoon. I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday, January 14th. Corpus Christi City Council met in their first meeting of 2026. Several developments coming from Tuesday include the TERS No. 3 Board and Corpus Christi City Council approving an amendment that would allow up to $2 million in reimbursement for demolishing the historic 1914 courthouse with no requirement for future redevelopment.
All the investment of all the projects that we've done in the downtown TERS.
Yeah, so with $200 million, it's over $200 million in investment that this TERS has helped to make happen in downtown within the
So here we are. We have all these useful tools with regard to the TERS and with regard to, but the thing is that we just need to have that plan. And that's a commitment that we need. We all just need to work as partners, and we just need to have that plan. So that way we can really think big, because we have this huge jewel.
That was Downtown Management District Executive Director Arlene Medrano speaking with at-large Councilman Roland Barrera. The county plans to demolish the courthouse, sell the vacant land, and return it to private ownership, putting it back on the tax rolls, but with no guarantee of when or how it will be developed. The county has hired 2 engineering firms to develop demolition plans and must complete asbestos remediation before seeking demolition bids. Total costs are estimated between $3 to $12 million. During Tuesday's meeting, City Council also approved a 30-year agreement to supply recycled water from the Greenwood wastewater treatment plant to Valero Refining. The agreement enables the city to supply up to 8 million gallons per day of Type 2 reclaimed water for Valero's industrial operations, supporting regional water conservation efforts and reducing demand on potable water supplies.
The contract agreement, my opinion, it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the city. It's a win for Valero. It's been a pleasure working with them. We've worked with them as a partner, and they're here today, and I agree with them.
Yeah, Nick, just a second. Explain it again. I don't think the listening council members understand it. So Valero is going to invest $100 million for a pipeline that ultimately gets $8 million. All we can get right now is $3 million from Greenwood. So we're going to get the rest from OSO, and that project we're doing, we have to build a pipeline from OSO to Greenwood. So what the contract says is Valero's saying if we're going to spend $100 million, then there has to be some guarantee we're going to get that $5 million.
That was Corpus Christi Water Interim COO Nick Winkleman speaking with District 3 Councilman Eric Cantu and City Manager Peter Zanoni during yesterday's meeting. Under the agreement, the city will initially make up to 3 MGD of recycled water from the Greenwood wastewater treatment plant available. An additional 5 MGD or 8 MGD combined will be available after the completion of additional infrastructure improvements. Wastewater is essentially all the used water that flows from your homes into the sewer. Valero will pay the city's raw water cost adjustment rate for metered recycled water and will reimburse the city for chemicals, electricity, and mutually agreed upon treatment processes. Valero will also pay its proportional share of operation and maintenance costs. And continuing on with Corpus Christi water updates, CCW leaders gave water supply updates to City Council and presented the 18 members selected to serve on a community-led advisory committee that will focus on the Inner Harbor desalination plant. The Farfield Advisory Committee was created by City Manager Peter Zanoni and city water officials to further examine the project and data behind the Inner Harbor desalination plant.
I think the consultants to figure out the Farfield model are going to be more expensive than the actual Farfield model.
Well, I think that's included in there too, Councilman, so thank you for that's all in. It's 3 consultants, actually, so thank you. You get one to help us draft what is the scope of work, and they're going to actually stay on retainer through the whole project as an owner's agent. Then we're going to have the Farfield modeler, which we know is $50,000 to $100,000, which the council asked for. We're doing what you asked for. And then the last consultant is one to help have meaningful meetings, a facilitator.
That was Zanoni speaking with District 5 Councilman Gil Hernandez during yesterday's meeting. City water leaders said the committee is expected to meet beginning this month until about April. After several meetings and reviews, a final modeling report will then be submitted and presented to City Council. And council members also approved the designation and creation of a tax increment reinvestment zone, this one number 7, to support planned development and infrastructure improvements in the London area.
We think it's TERS number 7. There's an item on the agenda today to approve the TERS, but in the coming weeks, the council still has to make board appointments. The TERS will have a first board meeting. The TERS will develop interlocal agreements, so the city will with Nueces County and Del Mar College. And then there'll be some conversation on the PID instrument, the Public Improvement District, for the Marabella project. So this TERS is somewhat new in how it's being used. We support it, and we think it's going to be for smart, good growth on the south side. So that'll be coming to council.
That was City Manager Peter Zanoni speaking during yesterday's City Council meeting. The zone, also known as a TERS, is a designated area where property tax revenues from increases in property values are set aside to fund improvements within that zone instead of going into the general fund. TERS 7 will help fund public improvements, including infrastructure for families, businesses, and schools in the London community. The approval will designate reinvestment financing purposes and create its board of directors. The 34th District of Texas announced yesterday that $4.7 million in federal funding over the next 4 years for the Region 1 Education Service Center will expand mental health services for about 16,000 South Texas students across 34 campuses. Valley schools include Mercedes, Raymondville, and Rio Hondo ISDs. District 34 Congressman Vicente Gonzales said in a news release that funding will be delivered through a 4-year multi-cycle award through the U.S. Department of Education's Mental Health Service Professionals Demonstration Program to recruit, hire, and train credentialed school psychologists. For the fiscal year 2026 cycle, Region 1 ESC will receive just under $1.2 million. In collaboration with UT-RGV and other partners, the Mental Health Initiative will serve several participating school systems. It will also focus on recruiting, training, and continuing education with learning experiences and internship opportunities. Padre Island and Mustang Island beachgoers could see an increase in parking permits beginning next year. The Padre Island Moon reports that a move to increase the price of beach parking permits on those islands is headed to voters by 3 decision-making bodies by the end of next month. The $12 price of the permits has not been changed since 2002, with the revenue from permit sales split between the cities of Corpus Christi and Port Aransas, as well as Nueces County based on linear feet of beach maintained by each. City staff told the Island Strategic Action Committee this week that the increase in revenue is needed to fund erosion control projects on local beaches after studies from the Texas General Land Office found that continued erosion is making beach access difficult in several areas. Port Aransas City Council is set to consider the permit price increase by the end of this month, followed by the Nueces County Commissioner's Court, then finally the Corpus Christi City Council by the end of next month. If approved by all 3 bodies, the price hike would go into effect January 2027 when new permits are issued. And the sister of one of the 2 Uvalde teachers killed in the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in 2022 has been barred from attending the trial of former school police officer Adrian Gonzales. Velma Lisa Duran was escorted out of the courtroom in Corpus Christi yesterday after she interrupted the proceedings. Texas Public Radio's Camille Phillips spoke with Duran before and after she was escorted out of court. She tells us Duran was deeply troubled by the trial, but felt she needed to attend to keep her sister's memory alive. And a warning, the story includes details some may find disturbing.
Velma Duran is the sister of Irma Linda Garcia, who was killed in the shooting alongside her co-teacher Eva Morales and 19 fourth graders. Duran originally planned to drive 2 hours home to San Antonio after court on Monday so she could return to her classroom and teach the next day. She's a first grade teacher. But sitting in a Corpus Christi hotel room Monday evening, she told me she just didn't have it in her to teach the next day.
I just can't. I can barely breathe.
She said it was a very tough day in court. She was taken off guard by how often her sister's classroom was mentioned and by autopsy photos of the deceased children.
Seeing the faces on the screen today, it was just like I couldn't breathe. And then having to be really quiet because if you cry, you make an outburst, the chances that you won't be able to return.
Part of what she's struggling with is that no criminal charges have been filed for her sister's death. Adrian Gonzales is on trial for 29 counts of child endangerment for the 19 children who were killed in the shooting and for 10 more children who survived.
My sister not being on the indictment, it was, I don't know. DA Mitchell, the last time I spoke to her, she said, that it was going to take time and, let the process work.
Duran says she thought the child endangerment charges announced more than a year ago were just the beginning and more charges would come later.
Now I know no one's going to take accountability for my sister's death. It's like she never existed.
She says she only found out there wouldn't be an indictment for the teachers about 2 weeks before the trial.
It's always been so difficult to get a hold of DA Mitchell. So I didn't want to impede her ability to focus on the case, so I sort of just stepped back.
Uvalde's district attorney, Christina Mitchell, did not respond to a request for comment. Duran says it's also really hard to listen to the defense make their case. like when they explain Gonzales' inaction by pointing to his lack of high-tech gear.
There's 2 wonderful women dead who tried their best to protect their students. They didn't need a shield. They didn't need, an AR-15, a pistol. They didn't need nothing. They used themselves to protect their children.
I talked to her again Tuesday after she was barred from court. She said she reached a tipping point when the defense called Gonzales a hero for finding a key to open her sister's classroom door.
Why are you trying to portray him as a hero? Because at the end, after an hour, he finds the master key. That was just ridiculous. I just couldn't.
Now, following the trial from outside the courtroom, she says she worries justice may never come. I'm Camille Phillips in San Antonio.
And I'm Rob Boskamp, and that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.